please join me in welcoming our President, Michelle Johnston.
Wow, thanks for that kind introduction, Chris. You know, listening to when Chris was introducing me, I didn't realize all the boards I serve on. I just keep going and going and going. I feel like the ever-ready bunny sometimes, but I'm going to apologize in advance. My address to the delegates today isn't going to be as exciting as it was last year. I really sincerely apologize. So for those of you who were not here last year, you missed out on a good one. It was, as somebody said, it was a barn burner, I think somebody had mentioned. But anyways, when we were run off our feet with the notwithstanding clause that the Ford government had introduced, poor Lori, who is an engineer, had to chair the meeting, and she was not very comfortable with that while I was running from the Marriott down to here to support everybody that was going through that. But you know what, I'm really, really happy. This is our second in-person council since the pandemic, and I gotta tell you, I don't miss virtual councils anymore. I know yesterday, you know, during the empowerment session, somebody had mentioned that as humans, we need that connection with other humans. And trying to get that connection over a screen, especially if you're chairing an event, is really difficult to do because most people have their screens off. So at least I'm here today. I don't see you in a box. I do have to lean a little bit over this to see the folks on the right, but I'm really, really happy that we're all gathered here today in person. It feels great to come together and do the important work of building our union, the future of our union. And that is what our theme is for this year's council, building the future of our union. Because we are living in a moment for the labor movement, and it is an important time to reflect and think about our future. During the pandemic, it felt like everything ground to a halt immediately. I was just coming back from a trip, and I think it was within a week, everything was shut down. At that time, we were all merely struggling to get through it, thinking it wouldn't be that long. Surprise, surprise. We were trying to stay safe. Heck, we were just trying to survive some days. But now we have all emerged from that dark time, and I feel a new energy. Don't you feel it? Okay, come on. Good morning, everybody. Can you cooperate with me a little bit today? I know, I get it. You know, now you gotta listen to the president, but come on, work with me, folks. I'm feeling an energy in the room, and I really hope that when I finish my speech, you'll understand the work that your union does for you each and every day. And I don't mean just myself. I'm talking about our executive team, I'm talking about our executive board, and I'm talking about the delegates that represent the members. So what I'm about to say is very important because we have been working diligently and very hard to make sure that we have growth in our union. Because if we don't grow, we cease to exist. Because as all us old folks retire, you know what I mean. So I feel that energy in our workplaces. I've seen it. I've seen it at the bargaining table, and I've seen it across the labor movement. People are energized, no pun intended, and they are standing up and they're refusing to settle for less. And we have seen that in all of the bargaining we have done to date. They are ready. People are ready to stand up and fight for what they deserve. All across North America, workers are rising up. We see it. We see it when you talk about the UAW strikes in the States. Historic strikes that are going on right now. And we'll hear more about this afternoon. But it's also happening within our own membership. We are seeing unprecedented engagement within our locals. Society members are more active than ever because we know we all know what we're worth, and we absolutely will not settle for less. And I'm proud to say that the results are speaking for themselves. When we come together in solidarity with each other and we show our strength as a union, we get results. And we have been getting excellent results at the bargaining table. I'm happy to report that just over a week ago, our members at the Ontario Energy Board local voted to ratify a deal with their employer. This following more than a year of difficult and really difficult bargaining, as Susie will attest to. But the members stuck together and the team got the best deal that was possible in difficult circumstances. In early September, my home local, members at the Hydro One local, after 9 months at the table, got themselves a good deal. And that would not have happened, and we've got the bargaining team folks here, that would not have happened without the tremendous mobilization of their membership. The employer didn't get serious at the bargaining table until our members there on site started wearing Society gear. They used branded backdrops in their virtual meetings, and they went around and they stuck stickers and tent cards all up over the employer's workplace. That show of strength was absolutely necessary to show that they weren't going to back down, and they didn't. And I thank you for that, because that's my contract. And our members at the Bruce Power Local, wow. Back in June, they got themselves a very hard-fought deal. The work that went in to galvanize your membership at the Bruce, in my mind, has been absolutely incredible. Kudos to you. Like a well-oiled machine, you folks were well organized and so dedicated. And you guys were able to marshal an amazing show of force and solidarity. And they've been doing great work bringing together not just society members, but members from other unions who work on the site, which is a tremendous example of what can be accomplished when we really take the time, speak to, and engage our members. And I love, personally, when I have to go up there to do tours up at the Bruce, I'm just filled with love when I see our members, because I get to know who they are then, they're all wearing the golf shirts. And I see them walking down the turbine hall. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a society member. So thank you for instilling that in the members up there. It gives me an opportunity to reach out to them, even though I'm on a tour and I'm supposed to be following the guide, to reach out and say, hello, thanks for everything you do. Thanks for standing up to an employer to get the fairness that you deserve. Finally, and certainly not least, I want to recognize and applaud the members at the Electrical Safety Authority. I have now, I don't know if I'm proud to say it, but I've now been part of 2 strikes. And they are hard. They're difficult. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of emotion. But they are sometimes necessary. And these members, and I'm looking at you, you stood resolute against a challenging employer. You should be nodding, because we know how challenging they were. You and your folks walked a picket line for 13 days. You applied pressure on the streets, pressure in the legislature, and they were able to force the ESA back to the table. And they won real gains from their employer because of that. And I want to recognize the entire bargaining team who really went above and beyond. I especially want to recognize Local Vice President Robert Mitchell, who fought so incredibly hard on behalf of the members he represents. Rob, can I please ask you to stand? Stay standing. Stay standing. Can I get the bargaining team to stand? It's okay. It's okay. And now can I get all the delegates from ESA to stand? That's okay. You should have brought them all out, Rob. We could have had them as observers. I want to really sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your resolve, for standing strong, for supporting each other, and doing what you needed to do to force that employer back to the table. So thanks again. I want to also I'd like to recognize and thank the staff. I know I thanked them earlier this morning, but the staff put in a lot of amount of overtime and gave up their weekends with their families to support the members. Thank you so much again for everything you do for our union. If it wasn't for you, we would not be the strong union that we are today. Once again, I'm asking the staff to stand up. I'll call you out if you don't. Anna and Bill, you too. Anna, stand up. Just making sure they're all standing up. Thank you for that. And through that strike, we learned a lot about ourselves, as I did during the Hydro One strike, and we also learned a lot about each other. And I'm sure the bargaining teams, as you got to that point of striking, felt that as well. We came together in solidarity, and we all became stronger because of that. We became more resolute and more certain of the importance of the work that we all do. And the lessons we learned will continue to guide and shape how we bargain into our future. Because right now, Ontario Power Generation, the Nuclear Waste Management Organization, Legal Aid Ontario, Toronto Hydro Engineers, and Local 164 at BWXT are all in various stages of bargaining. And the Society is fully engaged in providing the support that these locals need in order to get the best deals possible. We've got your back. The work of our union, it never stops. I look forward to the day, which I don't think I'm going to see anytime soon, but I do look forward to the day when our employers come to the table with generous and respectful contracts without us having to sit there and demand them. But until then, we have to fight. Because unions have to be the rising tide. Not just to ensure that professional wages remain at an appropriate level, but also it is our obligation to help maintain the standard for wages of all working people, because this is the ripple effect of what we do at the bargaining table. We lift all wages. We are the rising tide. But ensuring that the Society membership is well taken care of and will always be our #1 priority. You've got my guarantee on that. And in order to do what we need to maintain an active presence among our peers in the industries in which we exist and work, and within the labor movement itself. And this is the work that happens in the background of our union every single day, folks, every single day. For us to remain top of mind for our labor allies, industry partners, journalists, and politicians, we are constantly pounding the pavement on picket lines in solidarity. We're networking and making our presence felt. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, we're a small union. in the broader labor movement, but we are mighty. Recently, we had Secretary-Treasurer Lori Reid speak at the Toronto Board of Trade to discuss the role of labor and nuclear in advancing electrification and greening of Ontario's economy. Myself, I've been run off my feet working on the nuclear file, as I think Dave and Joe can attest to, and their locals. Whether it be the Canadian Nuclear Association, be the Canadian Nuclear Workers Council, COP, IFPTE, or the North American Young Generation in Nuclear, NAYGN, we are always there. We always have a voice, and we're always actively involved, and we are seen as a leader, punching above our weight. And in November, I will be at the Ontario Federation of Labor's 2023 convention, advancing the interests of our members, making sure that labor walks hand in hand with us to the electrification of Ontario. All this work is crucial to ensuring that our members' interests are protected. And our work is getting results. When we needed to raise the issue of our striking members at ESA in the legislature, we were able to leverage our relationships to make that happen. And when our members at the ESA local were on strike, we saw the outpouring of support from our partners in labor. They were there to support us on that picket line. This has happened because we show up for them. We're there for them. And tonight, you will hear from the Minister of Energy, which is a very rare privilege for our Delegates Council. I don't remember, or at least if it was a long time ago when we had a sitting minister chat with us. This is all because of the work of the union that happens behind the scenes, and that's away from the bargaining table. Some of the other important work that happens behind the scenes is the work of our equity committees. Within our union, we are proud to offer 7 member-led equity committees that help inform our union's work. These committees bring together members with disabilities, Indigenous members, racialized members, and LGBTQIA2S+ members, our pensioners, women, and younger members, and it gives them an opportunity to guide the work and the direction of our union. All of you who attended yesterday's Empowerment Day got a taste of the incredible work that they do. And our equity committees have been very busy. Just last week, the Young Professionals Network hosted a well-attended comedy night and networking event, and plan to host more events connecting the younger members of our union in the future. Sisters United. Rebecca, no, hang on. I was waiting for the look. Sisters United has rebranded with a new name and a new logo. They're now called United Sisters, or US. And it just feels like an obvious choice, and there will be more coming from the committee shortly. They put together a tremendous online campaign last year for the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And US continues to help guide the Society's position on important issues around women's equalities and equity. You'll probably note that earlier today, before we actually called our meeting to order, you may have seen representatives from United Sisters walking around with some tickets. We're looking at a 50-50 draw, and the proceeds from that draw are going to go to the Ontario Association of Intervention and Transitional Housing. So can I get some of the United Sisters to stand up? If anybody's interested in supporting that cause, please reach out to anybody there and you can get an arm's length of tickets. I'm sure that cause will be greatly appreciated. The Pride and Solidarity Committee continues to be an important voice on the LGBTQIA2S+ issues, not just during Pride, but all year round. And they are active in various working groups across the labor movement. And I know I probably shouldn't be saying this because Chris is going to give me a look, but we also, in your bags, you have Society socks. We also have Pride socks. And those socks are the hit. yeah, wherever I go and I'm wearing them, people are like, can I? So I have to carry a couple pairs with me. No, Siobhan. Absolutely, absolutely. The Coalition of Racialized Professionals and Professionals with Disabilities Committee have been busy holding very informative lunch and learns and interesting presentations on days of cultural significance. So I'm going to say, if you haven't had a chance to attend any of them, I really would encourage you to do so. And our pensioners chapter, they continue to keep society pensioners informed of what's going on with our union in order to keep thousands of retired members actively involved with our union. And the chapter was an important voice in fighting for Bill C-228 that Siobhan alluded to, which protects pensioners from corporate bankruptcies. And I really want to put a shout out and a thank you out to the pensioners chapter, because I know during the ESA strike, they came out and supported us as well. And finally, we've got the Society's Indigenous Relations Circle, and they've been holding fantastic events. Society leadership and staff attended a very powerful blanket exercise, which gave us all a better understanding of the historical plight of the Indigenous peoples with whom we share this land. It was a very emotional time for some people to really get an understanding of what settlers took away from Indigenous people. If you have an opportunity to participate in that exercise, I would seriously encourage you to do so. We also hosted a sold-out beading event where we learned how to bead, where members got to learn that traditional beading techniques and got exposed to Indigenous cultural practices. I attended it. I'm not too good at it, I'll tell you. Representation matters, and the Society is proud to support diversity, equity, and inclusion in our organization and in the workplaces and communities in which our members live and work. And the work and leadership that we are demonstrating gets us recognized. This past year, on behalf of the union, I was so honored to accept the Bromley Award from Toronto and York Region Labour Council, which celebrates leadership in the areas of labor equity and human rights. So many of you in attendance today, you contribute to this work, and I want to thank you for that. That award is for all of you, and you should all be very proud. Now, when we expanded the vision of our union to include professionals of all stripes, we encountered new opportunities, but we also ran into some challenges. We began organizing new types of locals, and often these smaller locals are different than the locals we've had historically. This has created a challenge for us. How do we ensure the small locals receive first-class servicing in a manner that is sustainable for our union? That is why we are creating what we are calling composite locals. And you will all have seen in the council documents the changes to the Society's constitution and bylaws that Laurie's gone through that are going to support the creation and maintenance of these composite locals. And once again, I want to thank Laurie Reed, Rob Mitchell, Dana Fisher, Susan Sloan, and Jenny Kinn for all of their work to make this project a reality. Thank you for that. This work will make our union more responsive. And we're going to be better prepared to deal with all sorts of organizing opportunities as we build our union. It will pay immediate dividends for our newer legal clinic locals, which are small but mighty, and it will better prepare us to build on what we already are experts at. When we rebranded ourselves, I think it was back in 2018, to be the Society of United Professionals, we had two major goals externally as a union. We want to be recognized as the union of choice for Ontario's professional workers. and we want to be recognized as experts in both energy and legal sectors. And we have been accomplishing this. We were already recognized as one of the leading voices in the electrical sector, but now, thanks to Dana and her team, we are also a leading voice on issues facing Ontario's legal sector. Members from our legal locals are constantly in the news these days because, as you can only imagine, there are huge issues that are making it harder and harder to access legal justice here in Ontario. It's disgusting. We have people who are walking free without trial because of overburdened court staff. Government decisions have made it more difficult to find a courthouse that people can access. And moldy and asbestos contaminated courtrooms are creating delays in the system. It is shameful, and something needs to change. Our members have become a first call, Dana, for the journalists seeking to understand the issues. And I'm pleased to report that we will be meeting shortly with the Attorney General to bring our concerns directly to the people who hold the power to fix it. Think about it. In just a few short years, and like since 2016, short years, our legal sector members are already shaking up the status quo, and they're working hard, making life better for people across the province. Dana, I'm going to have to ask you and your delegates to stand up, please. I can't even imagine how difficult your jobs are. I hear the stories from you, Dana. I hear them from the unit directors and some of the delegates when I'm fortunate to meet with them. And I can't even begin to imagine the difficulty that you face from a health and safety perspective. Not only that, but how to best represent the clients that you have. Thank you. And all of what I just spoke about is in addition to the work that we continue to do to advocate for evidence-based energy policy. Hopefully you all know that we produced a series of white papers on the electrification of Ontario's economy and how to achieve a net zero grid. My prop is somewhere here. I think in your bags, you would have seen one of these. A lot of work has gone into that. And you know, the white papers and our energy mixer widget, which is on the website at www.electrifyontario.ca, is something that we needed to put out there. And they were a result of our frustrations with what we were hearing from our lobby when we were lobbying the politicians at Queen's Park and federally. What quickly became clear to us is that too many people in the powerful decision-making roles, they did not have a good grasp on our sector when it came to energy, which simply to me isn't good enough. We know we are at a crucial moment on climate, and the consensus is very clear in my mind. We need to meet the targets for net zero emissions, and we need to act now. Not tomorrow, now. And that means an electrical grid that is backed by emissions-free nuclear power. Nuclear power. I'm proud that our union represents nearly 5,000 workers in the nuclear sector. I am proud that these are strong, unionized jobs, the kinds of jobs that we can all raise a family on, the kinds of jobs that support our communities. I know that I don't need to convince you here in this room, and the truth is that polling that we've done shows that people, particularly younger people, are already on board with us. We all understand the consequences of inaction. We can all see what the status quo looks like. We've seen it all around us. We've felt it all around us. Increasing heat waves, flooding, and fires. I know I don't want my children to have to live with the realities of the climate emergency and the climate disasters we're facing. And I know that's why so many of you are taking up this fight. It's an important fight. It's the fight for the future generations. Fortunately, we are experiencing a nuclear renaissance. And I like to use that term, it's a nuclear renaissance. If I had to get back into the sector, let's rewind over 35 years ago, this is the time I'd want to be in this sector. People are following the science, and that science is leading them to the reality that nuclear power is the only way to a net zero emissions future in the time that we have. More and more people are coming to realize that the future is nuclear, and it's happening. Climate advocates are becoming nuclear advocates. We are seeing it from celebrities like Greta Thunberg and you too. But I also suggest that you follow Isabel Bemecki and Chris Kiefer on social media. Also, Miss America, Greta Stanke. She is a nuclear engineer. So look her up as well. She speaks quite well about our sector. And people are fleeing organizations like Greenpeace who refuse to recognize nuclear as a green technology. We've been busy lobbying governments at all levels to recognize that we need to maintain and expand Canada's nuclear fleet in order to meet our energy demands if we hope to meet the net zero emissions targets. Our work is beginning to pay off at the federal and the provincial governments because they have made a number of positive announcements with respect to nuclear energy in the past few months. The federal government recently announced that it has made nuclear energy projects eligible for clean energy tax credits, and that they are putting money towards the creation of small modular reactors. In Ontario, and you'll hear this again tonight, I'm sure, from Minister Smith, the government announced that the operation of Pickering Nuclear Generation Station will be extended to at least 2026. And a study is underway to consider refurbishing the plant in order to extend operations beyond that date. This is a huge victory for society members at OPG. It was also announced that the government intends to expand the Bruce with a new generating station that would produce an additional 4,800 megawatts of nuclear power. And I know our folks at the Bruce Power Local, they're already turning its attention on how to ensure that they are ready to accommodate the increased workforce that they're going to need. OPG has begun the process of developing the first small modular reactor at the Darlington site. They have chosen a technology and are awaiting regulatory approval. And the government has announced their intention to proceed with 3 additional SMRs at Darlington, bringing their total fleet count there to 4. The Society will continue to work with our partners and the government to ensure our members' interests are well represented as nuclear production expands, and we will always be looking for new opportunities to build and expand our union. What we know is that we must reduce our emissions now. We must continue to get off coal and gas off our grid now. We must have stable, emissions-free nuclear energy as the backbone of our electricity grids, and we need that now. And I'm optimistic. I always see the glass half full. I'm seeing every day that people are seizing the nuclear opportunity. I'm optimistic because I've seen the faces of the next generation of nuclear. Many of us here have been doing this work for a while, but when I meet our young professionals and when I meet folks at events like NAYGN, conferences, I see so many bright, enthusiastic, passionate young people who will be the next operators and advocates for our future. I feel so confident that I will be leaving the sector in their hands. They're quite bright, let me tell you. I really see this as a fight for our future and for our planet, and I'm filled with hope. But we all must work together to make sure that there is a future for our children and our grandchildren and for many generations to come. It's our responsibility. Which is why I'm proud to stand here in front of you today. I am very proud to be the president of the Society of United Professionals. I find our union an inspiring union. I know that we're all fighting for the rights that our members so deserve. We're fighting for good workplaces, for a decent standard of living, for social justice, for clean energy, and for a future in which everyone can live the decent life that they deserve in this province. The work that we do for this union is important in so many ways, and I've just gone through many of them, but it only can be done with the help of all of you. You all have been doing such a great job representing and engaging the members you serve. The workers united will never be defeated. I think I did that last year, right, Eric? I just want to hear a little bit of a chant because I want to just reminisce about last year. So let's go, folks. The workers united will never be defeated. Come on, wake up. United will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated. As long as we continue to work together in solidarity, we will continue to build and grow this incredible union. Thank you very much.